Hey everyone, welcome back to another 31-minute podcast. Morning, Jackson.
Good morning.
Hello. I was just going to jump on and do a quick podcast this morning because we've got a few things lined up, but I was thinking about the beginning of New Year, and I know everyone does, your best 2023 ever, do this. I think it's really funny how people do that. You know, it's, I think people get excited, and it's like a brand new year, and they start to go, I'm glad I've left. I was talking to someone yesterday. I'm glad I've left last year behind. And now this year it's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they get all this like keenness going on. And I don't know if your friends have done that, Jack.
Yeah, a few of them have like stopped vaping and said they're going to stop drinking and stuff like that. But it's
short-lived.
I was just talking about one of my mates already. He's already had it starting off with a no good year.
No.
It's because they brought everything in from last year still.
Yeah. So I'd like to keep this one really short and really like to the point. But do you know some people, I'm not a cook, but some people have more focus on the recipe of a cake than they do their life, than their year. So let's pull it back a little bit. Let's say people get this new enthusiasm because it's the start of something. So the start of 2023, exciting, you got time off, the whole world sort of stops, everyone has a bit of a break. They let the tension go. That's what happens. They let the tension go because everybody is accepting of, I'm off for 2 weeks. So leading up to December, mid-December, everyone starts to mentally turn off for Christmas. People start to plan for Christmas trees and going away and buying presents. How long did you spend buying presents for Sarah?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's exciting,
yeah.
You know, and you're like, I'm buying this and I'm doing this and I'm just going to train a bit and hang out and whatever. And then they go, okay, I feel fantastic. I feel great. Like I feel like a brand new year's coming. So I just feel amazing, actually. And then they get all this excitement levels. And then they get into the year. So Monday, the 9th of January comes and everyone goes back to work. And what happens?
Their frequency goes down again?
Their frequency, yeah.
Is it working?
Jackson, you've been hanging around me too long.
It's
like, but you're right. They go into something where they almost get back to what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, they all, like your mate. Your mate's rang yesterday off his head.
Yeah. Last night.
What changes has he made?
None.
Hardly any. And it's that moment when people get enthused. And there's a great saying about business, and it says you can only run a business so long on enthusiasm. It's so true. You start something, you're all keen. Have you ever done that before?
Started a business?
No. But anything. Started something, and then 2.5 months later, you're not as keen.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
When that happens.
It's like short-lived because that enthusiasm is gone. And enthusiasm is fantastic. And that's what people have at the beginning of the year. They have all this enthusiasm. They're like, yes, woo, yeah, I feel great. But it's the discipline after that that's going to set your year up. It's going to be the reason that the year is different. You're disciplined right throughout the year. But you've got to have a recipe. You can't just expect life to change without a slightly different recipe. So if we're talking about a chocolate cake, I don't know how to make a chocolate cake, but I know a few little things. You don't just put flour in, a bit of chocolate, mix it around with water, put it in a tin and put it in the oven and hope a cake's going to come out of it. Some recipes they pass down for generations. Grandma Jones' recipe from 1843 that she brought out here on a boat and protected. It's the only thing she brought, that and some undies, and came out here and said, I've got this recipe that it was her mum's, that was given by her mum when the dinosaurs were around, but it is the perfect chocolate cake. The perfect chocolate cake. Why? Follow the steps. And then she's going to talk you through these steps. She says, do this, do that, leave it sit for 3 minutes before you put this in. Put a bit of vanilla essence. I've got a little secret ingredient. You put a bit of coconut in here, whatever it is. And every time, provided you follow the steps, the cake's going to be good. every time. And you know when you have that cake that you eat and you go, oh my goodness, I've never tasted anything like this. It's unbelievable. That person just didn't make it up there and then. They had steps to follow, and they just followed them. And then as time goes on, you might find another little thing that you're going to add to it. And in 80 years' time, you're the reason the cake's even better again, because you put a little tweak on it. Just a little one. So my question for people is, what recipe are you working to? Is it just a recipe of default? Getting up every day, going to work, job you sort of, or you just, even worse, just going to pay the bills. But you're getting up, going through a few average habits, rushing into the day, vaping, smoking, drinking, conveniently eating, whatever, and living a life that's a bit stressed and a bit under the pump, and you've got all these demands, your kids have got to be here. And look, I understand. I've got 6 kids. I've had 3 wives and 6 kids. Like, I really understand pressure. And then you've got all these demands. You get to the end of the day and you go, I'm friggin' buggered. Like, I've got nothing, like zero. So what do? You crack open a beer. Why? To relax. Why? So you try and maintain some sanity and don't crack under the pressure. And then you go to bed, and what do you do tomorrow?
Same thing.
Same thing. What recipe is that? I'll tell you what it is. You're going to have a breakdown. You're going to be overweight. You're going to be unhealthy. You are probably going to end up with a really poor relationship, not just with yourself, with people around you. You're going to be cranky. You're going to be disconnected from life, and you're going to get to a point where life is going to make you make a decision. Health or a problem. It'll make you make a decision. I know it will. It might take 25 years to do that, but it will. So I want to share with you the recipe that I'm working with. And I've spent a long time in all different ways working my way through life. I used to go on benders. I know it sounds crazy, Jackson, but I used to go on benders. And when I'd go on benders the most? In the later, not when I was younger, but I just did it because I wanted to before. But when I was under a lot of pressure, divorce, or, when, problems with your mum, Jack, and, or things like that. And my solution was, I'll just go out and go on a bender and just do that. And I used to sit there 3 days later and think, why the hell did I do that? Feeling like absolute rubbish. And I used to sit there and I used to write new goals, and I used to write a thing called a mind map, which is like, this is what I want, and I'd draw all these things around it, and I'd be like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to literally never do that again. But it's interesting. The more pressure I was under, the more likely I was to go out and try and relieve some of the steam.
Is that because it's the only way you knew how?
Yeah. It was my coping mechanism. So was I capable of not doing it? Probably. But I didn't know. And you've got to get people around you. And the great thing about videos and all of that, you can surround yourself with people you don't even know. You can surround yourself with the best of the best in the world who do what they do and watch them every day. I just watched an Esther Hicks video on the way here. That was 10 minutes talking about alignment. Do I need to? No, I don't need to. But I can tell you that little bit of spurt does something. You might not notice it, but do that 300 and something times a year. You're going to have a bit of forward movement from that, bit of mind expansion, bit of understanding. So the recipe that I'm going to talk about today is only my recipe. Doesn't mean everyone needs to use it, but there might be 1 or 2 things in that you could put into your life, and it will change a little bit. Because I know if nothing changes, nothing changes. That's one thing I've definitely learned. You can't keep going out on benders and thinking or drinking every night and think it's not going to have some effect down the track of a negative consequence, something. Because you're reinforcing a habit. And your life is a mirror of your habits. That's all it is. It's a mirror of your habits and discipline, or lack of, and time. You'll end up somewhere. I had a message last night, Jackson. I don't know if you read it. And the guy contacted me and he said, "You look better today than you did in the 90s. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
And I sent it to you.
Did you?
I did. So you don't read my messages, Jackson.
It was probably 1 in the morning.
Where is it? It says, I might not have, sorry. I sent it to Steve. Hats off to you, mate. You still have it. You're looking 100 times better than you did in the late 90s.
Yeah, well.
And to be honest, you towered over everyone with pride back then. And people took notice. So this is from a story I put up yesterday. But isn't it funny, Jack? I looked terrible, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Terrible. I literally looked like I had an illness.
Yeah.
I was eating terrible diet, like as in nothing, just eggs and thing. I was losing weight. I looked awful. And I made a decision, 7 years ago, to go find my best. To go find my best look, my best body, my best life, my best this, my best that. And all I did was work before that. That's all I did. I did nothing else, just work. Was I happy? Not one bit at all. Did it matter if I had 50 million or 5 million or whatever? It made no difference. It meant nothing, like zero. If I sold 1 million houses or 100 houses, it didn't matter because I wasn't happy. But my life is the best it's ever been. And I'm talking like internally. Forget on the outside. I sat down to write a goal list with Tara when we were away over last week, and I had nothing to put in there.
Really?
I had nothing to put in there. Yeah, nothing. I've got, I just want to get the best body in Australia. But it's I'm genuinely very happy. I'm content. I'm happy. It's like I just feel I'm moving in a direction that's exciting me. And I'm not sitting here saying, is more money going to make you happy? Well, I don't know, not really. What's it going to do? What do you buy? Another car? It's so funny. It's the better you get inside, the less you want on the outside. And so, Tara said to me, "Oh, you should." I went to this place called Qualia, which is very nice. And this is Tara now. She said, "You should wear," and they have a dress code. And this is a place where it's behind a gate. It's quite an exclusive place. There's a certain amount of villas, it's a bit quiet in there and all that. And they have a dress code. I just wear jeans and a t-shirt everywhere. I don't wear anything else. That's all I own. Jeans. I've got about 1 million t-shirts, the same ones, and jeans. And she said, "Oh, we should get you a nice collared shirt that you should." I said, "Forget it. I'm not wearing anything like that. The collared shirt, that's ridiculous. I'll never wear a collared shirt. I do to work, but not outside of that. And, I don't wear a watch. I don't wear nothing. I just wear jeans, t-shirt and sneakers because I'm real comfortable. I'm really comfortable in that. It feels right to me. And all these people were all dressed up and she's like, "I don't know if you can get in." It's got I'm like, "Get in. We're in a resort thing that you're staying at. Who's here? People that actually pay to be here." And she's like, "Yeah, but it's got this thing you're dressed." Tara's really particular
the
details.
book sort of thing.
And she's reading this list. You've got to wear collared shirt. You can't wear thongs. What do I wear? Thongs, t-shirt. But, I'm genuinely happy. And I think the happier you get, the less anxious you get, the less on the outside you need to demonstrate who you are. Apart from, for me, I like demonstrating fitness and health. I really do. I do. I think it's part of my life, So anyway, let me talk about a recipe that's for this year. And I really think that this is the key for having the best year you can. And when they say best year ever, why don't you have the most consistent year ever instead of the best year ever? Because if you're the most consistent that you've ever been, you're going to have a fantastic year. And then that's just going to get better and better and better and better. So myself, and I've spoke about it before, but I think that let's think about your own recipe. What does that look like? And everyone's going to have a slightly different one. Yours is going to be slightly different to me, Jack. But the crux of it is similar. So for me is sleep, number one. 2, eating fantastic. Like eating, I have a meal plan and I've got a coach for fitness. I know how to lift weights and sculpt, but I want to go to the next part now. So a coach for me has been fantastic. Love working with Mets. Great. So he's actually taught me a little bit more. So I've got a meal plan that I'm going to stick to all year. No drinking, nothing else that's going to pull me off track. Emotional control to the next level now. So what does that mean? No frustration, no anger if I can, and if you do get out of it, I want to not dominate. I want to master the law of attraction this year even more, and that might just be a little bit to stay more consistent. And then from that, spend a bit more time with the kids. Do a little bit more with 31 minutes, and it's only a little bit. And at work, just stay consistent. Like my work is really good. Like it's going so well. I just want to lead from the front. And Jack, I don't have anything else. Like that's my recipe. Watch a video or two along the way in the day and just protect my energy space. And I know it sounds like, oh yeah, all Matt talks about is energy, but it's a mirror. So the better your vibrational state is, the better your energy state is, the more the world is going to deliver to you. That's it. Because you can't say, oh, today I'm going to go out and meet the person who's going to give me the opportunity to go to the next thing. Because I have some decent goals in myself. Like, I want to be worth a certain amount of money one day. I want to be worth more than $100 million one day. But it doesn't matter if it comes in 10 years' time, I won't be alive in 50 years' time, but 2 years' time, 20 years' time, I don't know. It's just a number I've had in my mind forever. I don't mind sharing it with you. But what I've got today, I'm completely happy with. Like it doesn't really mean much to me, except that it's just a target. The best body in Australia, it's just a target. It just gives me a little bit of motivation to focus on something because I think you need a target, whatever that is. My work, 20 listings and 20 sales a month, every month. That's it. Building a house, that's it. There's nothing really else. But the part where and it sounds like I'm a bit like easy about it, like, oh yeah, this and that. But I'm fiercely focused on being the best I can be energetically. I've learnt that that's where the whole secret to life is. So what I was saying before is the more successful you become successful because of opportunities that come your way. A meeting with this person, something happens over here, you get an idea that's like the next idea. Like we've got some pretty great things happening with 31 Minutes, Jack. And that's an idea that came to me, had nothing to do with creating a brand or things that we're creating now, like a training space or anything like that. That had nothing to do with it at the start. That was a decision that I made to get a little bit healthier. And I reckon it's going to turn into a global brand. I really do, of some sort. And when that happens, I don't know. But it's like we're getting messages from all over the world, everywhere. Yesterday was Greece. We had Rome, Brazil, and all these things in Australia, and it's helping people, And when I started, it was an idea that I had. So if I had a hangover that day, would I have got the same idea? No. And then I just executed it and stayed consistent, and it was 30 minutes to begin with. And then I added the extra one, and then I just kept taking a picture of the treadmill that I was running on, and I was not a runner. And that just kept going and going and going, and now that's so many things are coming. We're going to have men's activewear, women's activewear, all sorts of stuff over time, but it's just slowly. I'm not waking up every day all anxious that I've got to create this thing around 31 minutes. It's just, what's the next thing, and what's the next thing? But I understand now the next idea is going to come to me because of the way that I'm feeling. And the way that I'm feeling, I've got to protect with everything that I have inside. I've got to make sure my thoughts are the best they can be. I've got to make sure my emotional stability is the best that they can be. I've got to make sure I don't get anxious about things. And if I do, I've got to move away from that. I've got to make sure I'm nice to you, Jackson. I was really hard on you growing up. I used to get angry and stuff like that. I still get angry with you sometimes, but very rarely. But it's only if you're being an absolute knob. But it's more about teaching you and guiding you, and all of that stuff put together consistently and execute what I can do today: eat well, no drink, sleep well, be great, have integrity, work hard, do this, do a little bit more. The end of this year is just going to be what it'll be, but I know it will be great. That's the thing. It has to be great because vibrationally it has to match. So my recipe is a vibrational control, or have vibrational control or vibrational focus on who I'm becoming. And that's nothing else but, am I living my best self? You know, I'll probably never eat McDonald's again because I just won't drive through a drive-through and get a hamburger. I'd rather just have a bottle of water and wait till I can find something better. But they're the small decisions that I can make myself to have a better life, because it's so easy. Oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just go through and get a hamburger. No, because it's absolutely terrible for you. You know, and your mates in a social situation, you're like, oh, I'll just have one drink. No, I won't do that because I'm not prepared to deal with it later. I don't want to be off track. And that's, my track is the track I've designed after all these years of the most bumps I think I've ever seen anyone go through, and the most downs and the most, you know, upsets and the most this and that, but I've always just kept swinging because I know I'd get it right somewhere. And today, I'm so fiercely protective of how I feel, what I'm doing, what I give my attention to, who I spend time with, what I eat. And I know it sounds really weird, what you eat, but what you eat is such a big part of it. You know, if you want to lose weight, just eat well. I don't know. Let's get someone who knows what they're talking about and just eat well. Gut health, huge focus of mine. I'm trying to get Jackson onto it now. But my gut health, I want it. That's really where all of your health and your great microbiome and all of that, I've learned so much about it. But, you know, I'm on a gut health journey now as well, because that's something like the next level of health. So why wouldn't you go down that path and then just live it? But every time you make a decision that's outside of your recipe, you move yourself off track, and you've got to get back on track. And whether it takes an hour a day or whatever, I'm just not prepared to invest the time anywhere else apart from moving forward in a great way. So let's finish today, Jack. I hope you have an amazing year, young man. I'm very, very proud of you.
Thanks.
You're doing extremely well, and we're going to do some really good things. But keep things simple. And I think the recipe that I've talked about today is, I know I've said it a million times, but there's driving the best car in the world, or driving the best car and having a huge loan to try and make yourself feel successful or to feel good, because other people will think, wow, look at the car, but you've got this huge loan on it that really is just causing you stress. I'd rather have a body that I'm working on, because that's 10 times better than any car that you'll ever own. I'd rather have a lesser car and working on fitness and health and whatever else, because if you're feeling so good and you're living this life of absolute excitement because you're on this path to see what you're capable of, and it's not even that you've got to have a certain result, it's just that to see what your true potential is as a person that's here, that is literally like this magical creation where you can choose your future. When you're on that path, you don't even want the car. You don't care about it because it means nothing to you. It's just four wheels and a bit of metal. It doesn't define who you are. But the funny thing is, life gets so good that you can buy the car. And when you do, it's the next step and the right step, and it feels like the next logical choice for you. But you're not rushing to it, and you'll have no loan on it, and you'll have very little stress around it. And you will work out that life becomes a lot more enjoyable and a lot less anxious and stressful and full of stress when you become the absolute best version of you. But that means saying no to a lot of things as well. And you say yes to the things that matter, and your life will change.